Hello, and welcome to the channel. Thank you for being here. If you're into true crime, you like to cut past all the fluff, all the sensationalism, and get down into the nitty-gritty, you have found the right place. And boy, am I glad that you did. Thank you very much for being here. Tonight, we are continuing coverage of the case of the murder. I need to find a spot here so I'm in the middle. The murder of Judge Kevin Mullins, the Letcher County, Kentucky judge that was killed on camera by the sheriff of the county, guy named Mickey Stines. And I'm not going to actually show what happens here, but yeah, he's in his chambers, and Judge Mullins was shot 8 times by Sheriff Mickey Stines. We've covered this at length. We have had Elizabeth Jones from Hillbilly Crime on. We have listened to audio recordings of Sabrina Adkins, one of the people that was abused, and alleges that she was abused by a man named Ben Fields, who at one time was Sheriff Stines' deputy. So this is a convoluted case with a lot of stuff going on, but we're going to continue our coverage of it, okay? Now, I was just over on Surviving the Survivor with Joel Waldman. Also on that panel was District Attorney General Mark Richardson from the state of Tennessee, and also a defense attorney and civil rights attorney, Ned Pillersdorf. That was a fantastic panel. Oh my goodness, I love being invited over there onto Surviving the Survivor. But if you haven't seen it yet, just go over there. It's one of the, they're about to do another live stream. Joel's about to do another live stream having to do with the LA fires, the LA area fires. So it's like the one that just happened. Okay. If you want to check that out, it was terrific. All 3 of those guys were fantastic. Okay. So let me do a little bit better job of introducing this. Okay. On September 19th of last year, Judge Kevin Mullins was killed on camera by his friend, his former co-worker, and the sheriff of Letcher County, Kentucky, a guy named Mickey Stines. Okay. Now, where this gets complicated is that a few days prior to the shooting, Sheriff Stines was deposed in a case, a civil rights case that was filed by Mr. Pillersdorf representing Sabrina Adkins and the late Jennifer Hill. We learned from Ned just a few minutes ago that Ms. Hill did indeed die from a drug overdose. Unfortunately, both of these women are extremely, what is the word that I'm looking for? They are, what is the word that I'm looking for? Goodness. Easy to be abused by people in power is what I'm trying to say, right? These are 2 women that have seen the inside and outside of the criminal justice system there in Letcher County. They have multiple drug offenses. They've been in and out of jail. And unfortunately, what happened to them was Ben Fields, who was convicted of this, was extorting these women in the Letcher County Jail, which is in the courthouse, the basement of the courthouse. He was extorting them when they would get out on house arrest with an ankle monitor, because he was the manager of the ankle monitors. And he would basically say, if you have sex with me, then you don't have to wear your ankle monitor. And so how does this tie to the judge's murder? Well, only in that, there are 2 things. Sabrina Adkins, 1, told the Attorney General's office detectives that she saw a video of Judge Mullins participating in this behavior. And 2, Judge Mullins was shot dead by his sheriff after having been deposed by Mr. Pillersdorf in the case that he is representing Ms. Atkins and Ms. Hill. Hopefully it's a convoluted case. It's a complicated case. Okay. So, if you have questions about what are we doing here, it's natural to have those questions. Vulnerable is the word that I was looking for. Thank you very much. Yes, they are vulnerable women. These kinds of things we hear in these interviews with the Attorney General's detective. He talks about sexual relationships, and he talks about, was it consensual, and things like that. But legally speaking, morally speaking, ethically speaking, there is no way that this is not SA, right? Mr. Fields, as the deputy and as the guy that managed the ankle monitor system, was in a place of power over women that were frightened. They were completely scared about going back to jail again. And as Ned brought up in this last panel that I was on just like an hour ago, he said, they were running at one call by this guy and they were back in jail, and that put them in a position of deep fear. So Ann Rucker, vulnerable ladies due to their addictions. It's absolutely just appalling what happened to these women. Okay, so this is part 2 of listening to the audio of Ms. Hill's conversation with Kentucky Attorney General Detective Matt Easter. We left off about halfway through. Boy, has Ms. Hill been extremely brave, and she has given great detail. She's talked about where it happened in his police cruiser. She's told a very, very direct and detailed testimony so far. Now, Mr. Pillersdorf just said in the last panel that I was on, the circumstances under which these women were being interviewed was what was called a proffer. So Mr. Pillersdorf reached out to the Attorney General's office and said, my clients have something to say, and the Attorney General's office came out and talked to them. He said that in his 40 some odd years of practicing law, being a criminal defense lawyer there in Eastern Kentucky, he didn't know the Attorney General's office to really jump to, but in this case they did. So we're going to pick up where we left off yesterday. Give me just a second. Let me make sure that I've got the right. Let's see. Is this going to come to the right place? Yes. Okay. Good deal. So we're gonna pick it up, and then I'm gonna be going through your comments. Please put GF in anything that you want me to see specifically, and then we will stop from time to time as we continue to listen to this. If you haven't heard the first part, go back to the video from yesterday. Here we go.
So there was no kind of, you said there was maybe some messages on your phone from him?
Yes.
Were there anything of sexual nature, or is it?
Him pretty much just, I can't really remember. I started racing because of my husband, you know what I'm saying? My husband didn't know about this until afterward. But he would be like, he'd message me, he'd say, are you home? I'm riding up.
So if we find your phone, there's nothing going to be on it that's going to show any kind of from him.
I really can't remember. I remember erasing them. I really can't remember. If you can.
So you think you erased them?
Yeah, I know I erased them.
You know you erased them.
But I mean.
Okay.
If
and those were just text messages, right?
Yes.
You didn't do any kind of Facebook?
No.
Nothing?
No.
What made you decide to tell your story?
Because he's doing me wrong. I feel like he should be in trouble because he shouldn't be putting me through this, and him sitting over at his office behind his desk And there's no telling how many other people he's done this to. You know, I almost lost my husband over this.
How did you know to get in touch with Ned Pillersdorf?
I called him to ask him about taking my case, period, just a lawyer. My husband, he's staying in Martin right now in Floyd County, and he just looked up a lawyer, and he was one of the first ones he found.
And then you all just told Ned about this?
Yes. Because my husband said that he was railroading me, is what he said.
Did you all hear about in the news and all this other stuff?
No,
Did your husband?
I don't think so.
So she's saying she came independent. She came to Mr. Pillersdorf independent of Sabrina Adkins. I think that's what I'm understanding. She's like, no, I didn't see it in the news. No, I didn't talk to anybody. My husband found an attorney. It was Ned Pillersdorf, and that's the one that we called. By the way, Ned brought up that in the criminal case against Mr. Fields, there is a third woman that he pled guilty to. There's a third woman. And one of the things that he brought up was in Letcher County. That was a great panel, man. I'm going to try to have Ned on because it was fantastic. But what he was saying is in Letcher County, over the 43-year career span, and by the way, he's married to a Kentucky State Supreme Court justice. This is a power couple in Kentucky, but in his 40 years of practicing law, he said the courts are now just filled with female defendants, filled with women, mostly with drug problems there in Letcher County, that are in and out of the system. They're arrested multiple times. They're in and out of drug court. He said that he would be surprised if there weren't more. And my guess is there probably are many more victims of Ben Fields, possibly of Judge Mullins, possibly, he's not around to defend himself, and possibly of Mickey Stines and other higher ups, as Sabrina called it. Right? So I think we're at the tip of the iceberg on this case, and it's infuriating and saddening at the same time.
There was some stuff.
Oh, no. I'm not going to lie, I'm a drug addict. I don't even pay attention to the news.
That's funny.
You think your husband may have?
No, I don't think so. He's a drug addict too, I'm not going to lie.
No, that's fine. Just because you're a drug addict doesn't make you not a human.
It really makes him mad that Ben done that to me. I'm about ready to start crying because it sits in my stomach. Because I love my husband, I wouldn't have done that to him. You know, I just didn't want to go back to jail.
Listen to her.
Fear. Let's go back to
listen to the fear she was living under. Right? You perform oral sex on me, you have sex with me, or you're back in jail. That's the way it is. That's what this guy was saying to her. And Aida is exactly right. They're susceptible. They're vulnerable. The power imbalance in this case is just, it's shocking.
Over time frame here. So he's coming to your house. What's he saying when he's coming to your house all these times?
Like the first night when I told you when the cops come, he was being really hateful to me. I wasn't high or nothing. I was straight because where I was in house arrest, my granddaughter was just born. And he said that I was high and that he could take me and get me a drug screen, and I told him to take me because I could have passed a drug screen. And then he was like, no, he said, if I ever have to come out here again, I'm taking you to fucking jail. And then like a day or two later is when he comes to my house and had me get in the car and give him oral sex.
And what do you mean by he made you? Did he physically?
If I didn't, he was going to put me back in jail.
Is that what he told you?
Yes.
Listen to the fear in her voice. It causes her voice to break.
That's what I'm saying. I had no other choice. If I hadn't done it, I would have went back to jail.
So he told you that if you didn't have oral sex, or
if I didn't make him happy,
didn't,
that I wouldn't be happy. He said that he'd have me put back in jail, and he had done it once before, and I knew he could do it again. I got out on a Friday, and then that Monday he was back there to re-arrest me. And my husband had just paid $100-something for that house arrest, you know what I'm saying? We didn't have the money for that. And I hadn't done nothing wrong, and he re-arrested me because I denied him the first time. And I was afraid if I didn't do it, that he would put me back in jail, which I ended up back in jail anyway because of it.
okay, so when you're saying that you denied him,
I told him no the first time.
and that was when you were arrested in August.
No, this was the year and a half or 2 years ago, the first time. I got out on a Friday. That very same Monday he came. Very next Monday he came. I was only out the weekend.
Do you remember was it an escape charge then, or?
No, I hadn't done nothing wrong.
What did he arrest you for, though?
He just come back, told me I needed to get my box. He put me in and there was another cop with him. He put me in the back of the cruiser and he took me back to jail. For no reason. I hadn't done nothing wrong. I just had denied him. I told him no. And he re-arrested me.
And that was at the...
And I've got proof of that too. I've got witness that knows that he'd done that.
And that was the year and a half...
Yeah, before all this happened. So I knew if I didn't do it this time, he would definitely have me put back in jail again. I felt like I had no other choice.
But you don't remember what charge that was when they came and got you?
I believe that was my first possession charge.
That is correct.
Did you have something on you?
No, an empty bag. That's all it was an empty bag. But they charged me with possession. And right now,
But I thought,
you can check the courthouse. Yeah,
I thought that what you're in here right now getting held for is the empty bag.
that's what it is.
From a year and a half ago?
Somehow, I don't know what's going on. I've got the same charges.
I'm kind of confused.
I got the same
So we
charges right now, upstairs and downstairs, and I've got drug court, upstairs court. And downstairs, I've also got charges on it that I've got sentenced to for probation for the same charges. I thought that was double jeopardy. I'm being charged for the same crime twice.
So let's go back a year and a half, 2 years ago. You're arrested
On a possession charge.
on a possession.
Yes.
And he makes his proposition to you and you don't take him up on it.
No.
You get out of jail.
Yes. And I was out from that Friday. I was out Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday he was there to re-arrest me. He put me back in jail. And then I got in trouble again. All I had was a pipe on me at that time. I didn't have no kind of dope on me. All they had me for was an empty bag and a pipe. And now I'm here because of that. They got me for possession.
So we're
I guess because of COVID it took so long for the court. I'm not really sure.
So we're a year and a half, 2 years ago, you get arrested, he makes a proposition to you, you deny it.
And he re-arrested me.
2 or 3 days later, you get re-arrested for you're saying a baggie that was nothing in it.
I was arrested at that before I got on house arrest. I was arrested for a baggie. That was when I got the house arrest.
Okay, but what did he arrest you for the 2 or 3 days later?
Nothing. I hadn't done nothing wrong. He come to my house.
But what was the charge? I'm not saying you did anything wrong, but they have to charge you with something. They
He
can't
didn't
just
charge me with nothing.
they can't just come get you.
He did. I promise you. If you look at it, I had no other charges. He come and he picked me back up, and he took me back to jail.
I mean, I can see why Detective Easter is confused, right? Well, wait a minute. He's trying to establish a timeline here. And I think she's doing a really good job, and it's good of the detective to really want to know what the timeline is. He's asking deeper questions, and sometimes he's asking repetitive questions because he's trying to figure it out. But her testimony here is, okay, I got arrested for possession. I had an empty baggie. Goes into jail, gets out on house arrest, Fields propositions her, says, if you make me happy, I'll make you happy. She says, no, I am married and I'm not going to be doing that. A couple days later, he goes, picks her up, takes her back to jail. And what she is telling the detective right here is for no reason. There was no charge. And I guess that's why Detective Easter is a little confused, right? It's like, well, there has to be a charge. There wasn't. Go ahead and look. It's not there.
I had no other charges.
And you're saying that was around October, can you remember any dates?
That was around, let's see. I'm thinking, I was wanting to say it was in the summertime, because I was living in, let's see. It was in the summertime. It was around maybe August.
By the way, guys, this photo of Ben Fields, this is him when he was a sheriff's deputy and bailiff at the court. This is his picture from the Kentucky sex offender registration. That's what he looks like as of the last year or so.
That year. July, August, something like that.
When that you got?
When I got arrested the very first time.
When he first
Yes.
made the proposition to
Yes.
you. So you're saying it was probably around
July or August. The very first time. And I had done nothing wrong. I was at my camper. I was asleep when he pulled up.
So you got, and just I apologize, there's a lot of dates and a lot of charges we got to sort through here.
Yes.
So I can get this right. So around August or July of a year and a half, 2 years ago, you were arrested.
Yes.
He propositioned you at that moment in time.
Yes.
Around that August or July.
Yes.
You didn't take him up. You got out of jail.
Yes. I was out for.
Then you got rearrested in October.
Yes.
And
Of this past year.
okay, look.
Okay, the year and a half or 2 years ago was around August or July.
Yeah, and Okie Mom, that's why she's like, I've got charges upstairs, I've got charges downstairs, right? So she's talking about the two different court rooms. The main courtroom with Judge Mullins, and I think there might be other judges there too, I don't know. And then upstairs is drug court, right? She's like, how can I be charged with the same thing in two different courts? So, and you're right, you are correct. The Ben Fields' sister was over that court.
Yeah. And then you stay in jail till how long?
I want to say at least 2 months.
So that would put you around that October time frame.
Yeah.
And then you get out.
Let's see. I got out. It was it was during summer, so I was arrested around July or August, middle of July, beginning of August. I got out around September because it was still pretty hot out. I was out from a Monday to a Friday, or from a Friday to a Monday, and then that Monday he showed up at my camper, knocked on my door, and told me to get my box, and so they took me back to jail. He had another cop with him.
Okay, so
I had not done nothing wrong.
So it's the September charge is when he come got the box and you.
Yes. That was the very first time.
Yep, Cassie, you're correct.
Because I told
So
him
you got arrested in August or July, got out in September, and you went back in September.
You're talking about 2 years later?
Yeah.
Yes.
Then rearrested in September. And you think that was because you didn't take him up on it
Yes.
that time? And you don't know what charge that was, or you're saying there wasn't a charge? You just,
When he rearrested me, no.
they didn't give you a copy of a citation?
No. I didn't get a citation because I didn't have no other new charges. Luther Tackett was working there, and because he said, "Does she have a new charge?" He said no.
Do you remember what deputy was with him then?
I'm wanting to say his last name was Adams. No, Holbrook.
That's the other officer that was there.
So then they fast forward a year and a half after that deal. That's when you get arrested in around August the 15th.
Yes.
And then you get out in October, and then you're back on house arrest.
Yes.
And he starts coming to your house
Yes.
saying, if you don't
Yes.
have sexual favors with me,
Yes.
you're gonna go back to jail. So you felt you had to have sex with him.
And he meant it.
Okay. During the sexual times, did he like physically restrain you, or was it a consensual
right.
other than you thought you didn't want to go back to jail? You see what I'm saying?
He didn't make me, but he made me.
But he
Good
didn't
answer.
physically
No.
make you.
No.
You were a willing participant in
Yes.
it by the physical
Yes.
standards, but by mentally you thought that you had to. Okay, that's
Yes.
that's what I was, trying to get. Did he hold you physically,
No.
hold you down? And did he ever physically hurt you?
Not physically, mentally, yes.
Good for her.
I about lost my family over this.
Well, not to mention, she was SA'd.
And then from the 1st of October, you got rearrested at the end of October, and that was for escape.
Yes, but which he didn't hit me with escape because the ankle bracelet was not cut.
But that's what the charge was, right?
Yes. To rearrest me for it, yes.
Why do you think all of a sudden he just turned on you after y'all were having a
Because I
situation?
denied him that last time. When he comes, I went and paid my ankle bracelet fees that day. It was on the Thursday.
The mark of truth, according to her attorney, she is.
And he said, can I come to your house? I said, no, my husband's home. And then the next day, there might be message on my phone because the next day is when he was saying that he was mad at me for telling him no.
I'm sorry to keep interrupting on this, but the question's in here. He is not qualified. He first of all, he's a convicted felon. He can't have a firearm. And he's completely disqualified from working as a law enforcement officer. And he was, if you guys remember when we listened to his interview by Detective Easter, he had already been fired before this for misconduct. So yeah, this guy will never be a police officer ever again.
And I told him, I said, my husband's home. And then, like 3 days later, like 3 days later is when he tried to say escape. Because it's pretty much because I told him no.
Okay. So at the end of October, he's wanting to have sex with you again. You tell him no because your husband's there. Next thing you know, you're getting a warrant.
Yes.
You've got an escape charge.
Yes.
And now you're staying there till December. Then you get out for drug court the same day.
Which he had fixed up.
He did that, and then he sees you outside the courtroom, tells you to stay run. They've got a holder on you, so you stay hid till now.
Yes.
Was there a holder on you?
Apparently there was from McGoffin County. It was a child support holder. But I didn't know that his sister could have had it fixed to where I wouldn't have been in trouble. She could have let me stay in drug court and them actually helped me with my child support. I didn't know that.
So it was a McGoffin County warrant?
Yes.
The holder that he was talking about was a McGoffin
Yes.
County warrant?
And there's still one, so you can even check that out.
Okay, I appreciate your opinion, but I just disagree with it. I think he's doing a good job.
Okay. And then that's what's got you in here now?
No, Letcher County.
For what? What?
For the contempt of court. And I haven't seen a judge or nothing. I haven't talked to nobody.
You don't know what you contempted?
No. I guess because of where I've left.
Okay. All right, so we have no idea where the phone's at,
No. It was at the Letcher County jail.
but it's lost, you're saying?
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
Okay.
Her phone
And his wife worked there, so I don't know. It was weird that his wife quit right before I got out.
What
I think that she knew something was about ready to go down.
What was the phone number? Was that AT&T?
Yes. And you can also check just my fiance's number.
News Nation is actually doing a pretty darn good job covering this. So is Law and Crime. But none of the majors, no 2020 or 48 Hours or Dateline or anything.
Because he messaged both phones.
He messaged both?
Mm-hmm.
What was the other number? That's AT&T too?
Yes.
But as far as messages being on, like if I could find these phones, there's not going to be any messages on the phone physically because you've erased them.
Yes. But, I mean, if you can get in, like, to the hard drive or something, you would find them.
Of course, we got to find the phones. Does your husband have that phone?
No, but he's had that same phone number for years.
But the phone, we don't know where either of those phones are. Both of those phones are gone.
That last
Same phone numbers, but the phone, actual physical phones, we're not going to find.
The actual physical phone is at that jobs.
That's what you think, but they're telling you it's not.
Yeah.
How about where's it at?
My husband has it. My fiance does.
That's the actual phone that you texted?
Yes. Yes, I'm pretty sure.
What's your husband's name?
This would have been redacted, right? That redaction I did not do.
Which phone did he message more? What do you think might be on?
I'm not really sure. I know if he messaged it, I would have erased it.
Was there any sexual discussions? Did he say anything sexual over these phones, or just conversation?
He did.
Nothing
this is
on
a good
paper.
question.
No.
This is a good question. What judge sentenced this man, talking about Ben Fields? Okay, Ned Pillersdorf just told us over on Surviving the Survivor that there is a mediation, a criminal mediation, that it's kind of a new process, a new system in the state of Kentucky, where the prosecution and the defense, they go and get mediated into, well, I mean, sometimes they will say, I'm taking it to trial, but they have this mediation process where they can basically negotiate with a mediator involved. What he got was 7 years. 7 years, but most of that is on probation. So he spent 6 cushy months in the jail down below his former workroom and at the place where so many women that were probably in there he abused. Also the place that his wife was one of his jailers. 6 months, and then he got out and he's on probation. You can go to the Kentucky State what's it called? Probation lookup, and you can find his information. He is still on probation. This is where I got the photo, actually. All right, continuing.
Did anybody ever hear any conversations that you all had, like on the phone, that was sexual in nature, or?
Only one time, but someone walked in on us. It was at the courthouse. I was there paying my house arrest thing, and in front of the courthouse, there's double doors you can walk in, and there's another set of double doors. We were standing there talking. I was trying to record it with my phone for me to have proof that he had done something.
Oh, good for
and
her.
when I walked in, because I was doing school online too, I had my tablet with me and my phone. And when I walked in, he took them both from me. There's cameras there, you might be able to rewind and see that. And he turns them both off. And we're standing there talking, and he was telling me that he's going to be up the next day. And then a woman and a man walked in to pay theirs. And then he just quit talking.
Wow. He knew what he was doing.
And that's the phone that disappeared.
Do you know anybody of the name?
Okay, Mom. Elizabeth Jones is from Hillbilly Crime. She has been a guest on this channel, and I hope to have her back sometime real soon.
I don't think so. No.
But
I know.
when's the last
Just
time?
in jail.
When's the last time you talked to her?
Probably a year, maybe. I'm not friends with her. I've been in jail with her, so I met her.
Hopefully we'll have.
You don't know how long you're going to be here.
No.
When you get out, it's going to be your number.
Yeah, it's still hooked up. It's through the. It's through AT&T, but the government pays it.
I love Elizabeth.
So,
She's awesome.
Or if you want to leave your card, I can get the card.
Now you're saying he's staying in Floyd County.
Yes.
Is that where you're going to go when you get out, or are you going to?
I'm going to Floyd County.
What's the address in Floyd County? You're like,
It's at my stepson's. They're getting ready to move, so I'm not really sure what the address would be until after they move, because they just got moved in Texas.
Well, I tell you what, I'm going to give you my business card.
Okay.
When you get out, if you do, just touch base with me.
Okay.
That way I know where you're at, because I may have some more questions and may have some more. I'm trying to think of anything. And I'll explain this to you, Jennifer. You know, obviously when you know, we take these accusations pretty serious.
Yes.
But we obviously have to back it up with evidence.
Yes,
you know. You know, if we had messages, if we had something, you know,
yes,
it would obviously be greatly beneficial to us.
By the way, on Sabrina Atkins, she had her phone, all the Facebook messages and so forth he was able to get. I don't know what happened with Jennifer Hill, but I mean, he's not lying here. He's like, yeah, like we've got to have evidence on this. Ultimately, they did, because Mr. Fields pleaded guilty to 3 counts, and there were three victims in that case. So ultimately, they got it.
I don't know what I'll be able to come up with, or what I'll be able to do to help you.
Okay.
Maybe nothing.
But as long as he gets in trouble, that's all that matters to me. Because
Well,
he shouldn't be allowed to do that to people.
You know, obviously I can't just go and charge him with a crime just based upon what you say.
Yes.
I've got to have something else. But what I can tell you is I will do my very best to try to find something else that backs all this up.
Okay.
That's all I can do, you know.
Yes. As long as he gets in trouble, that's all I'm really worried about. Because he shouldn't be allowed to do that to people. Especially if he's done it to other people.
What do you think should happen to him?
I think he should go to jail. Because he's sitting there threatening people with the jail. And I think that's where he should be. If he's really doing that to as many people as he's doing it to, if it's 3 people already, then he shouldn't be doing it at all. And I think he should be in jail.
How do you know there's 3 people?
Because you mentioned 2. And then me. You just told me 2 names.
Yeah, but I never said that. I just asked you if you knew those people.
I'm not stupid.
Good for her.
But like I said, on your side, you know, we've got to find
I understand.
some corroborating information, and that's what I'm sitting there trying to go through my head of everything I could think of right now. That's, you know, we know the church. You know, videos don't release. You know, videos only last certain good systems maybe only a couple of months,
Yeah.
and then they rewrite. So you know, that's been a while.
Yeah.
You know, you're talking October when, you know, of 2021.
Yeah.
Chances of video
So
being there is
4
probably slim to
months.
none.
Yeah.
I'd really
5 months.
more like none. So I'm gonna do my very best. Do you know how, like these people that you told me, where I could find them at?
They live right in the Paula Campbell is in the home. It's
Do you think? So you think she?
yeah, that's the address I would have.
So she lives at
There
your
are cuts
house.
in the audio. Sorry, there are cuts in the audio where they have redacted certain information. I did not do those, but that's what's happening. That's why it seems kind of disjointed.
How about Johnny and Tony and George?
Johnny lives at 3, let's see.
If you don't know the addresses, and obviously
I've got that. Johnny lives in my grandparents' old house. I would have to get a hold of my fiance.
How about, do you know Tony's address? Jordan's address?
I don't know Jordan.
How about Red?
Red Mead? No, he's the man that owned the fruit stand. Anybody that up there would know. He's got like an old fruit stand right in front of his house.
What's the chances of you getting in touch with your husband and saying, I gotta get these numbers for me?
I can get them for you.
And then you can have your husband, you can pass that, my cell's on here, pass that number to him, or you can tell him to give them to Ned and have Ned call me.
Okay.
Either way is fine with me.
Oh, yeah.
But if you can get me these numbers, I'll reach out and see if we can't start talking to people.
Okay.
I still don't know what we can do. A lot of this information will go to a prosecutor. She'll look at everything and decide what we can and can't use. I'll do my very best to try to back your story up.
Okay.
My very best.
Appreciate it.
Because
I think he's being sincere here. And we don't forget, guys, they successfully prosecuted him.
Appreciate stuff like that happening, and it shouldn't happen to you. And if we can do something to stop this from happening, then that's what we need to do.
Yes.
And that's what I'll do.
Okay.
Like I said, no guarantees.
Well, I understand that.
You probably know the law just as good as I do.
Yeah. I'm just glad they ain't gonna be able to do it to nobody else.
Well, I don't know what'll happen to him. It's not my decision. And like I said, I'm here on your charge, not anybody else's. And if I can prove that he's done this to you, you can guarantee that we'll try to do our best to do something about it.
Okay.
Obviously, I don't know if I can get some records. I'll have to talk to our cyber guys to see if they think if we can subpoena your phone records, I don't think they show the actual messages. I'm not for sure, but I'll double check that for you.
Okay.
Obviously the camera idea, it's a great idea. God only knows we wish we had everything on camera. Wish you could have videotaped it. Wish you could have recorded something.
That's what I was trying to do, and he took that's what I'm saying, my phone.
If we had something like that, well, we'd be a smoking gun.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, all we have right now is maybe some witnesses that saw you go back to that
Yes.
and that we might be able to put some more stuff together, and that may be enough.
Okay.
But I'll give you my word that I'll do my best to try to fix this for you.
Okay.
To try to see what's out there. No guarantees. So don't nothing.
That's fine.
If year down the road, if he's not charged in your behalf, don't be mad at me.
I won't be.
Because there was just nothing we could do.
Okay.
But I will guarantee you I will do my best to try to find out what happened for you.
Thank you very much.
And that's really, that's about all I can do.
Okay. I really do appreciate it.
But, I take your word as it is, and just because you're a drug addict and in that position, you have no right to be treated like that, and I'll do my best to see that it doesn't happen.
Okay. Thank you very much. It's very nice to meet you.
You're very welcome. And like I said, get up with your husband and get me those numbers as quick as you can.
Okay.
That way.
Can I contact you over the weekend?
You can try. Sometimes I don't have my phone. You can leave a message.
Okay.
But just as quick as he can get them, get those to me, and we'll go from there.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Thank you all so much.
That's pretty much the end of it. It goes on for another 55 seconds, but that's pretty much the end of their conversation. Boy, is that she tried to record Fields. That's what she said. She tried to record the conversation, took in her, what'd she say, her tablet or phone, tried to get it recorded, but he took them and turned them off. This is, And Aida, I think he was being sincere, and he got a conviction out of it. What am I doing here? I need to turn that off. He got a conviction out of it. And I think the way that detectives ask questions sometimes are off-putting to those of us that are listening to them. And in truth, sometimes they're not trying to do a good job, right? Sometimes they are just kind of going through the motions. What is it? Oh, that's Sean's YouTube channel. Sorry, I'm like going through the motions. That is a YouTube channel dedicated to the Karen Reed case. Anyway, yeah, I think that he's like, yeah, get me the numbers, get me the addresses. I need to find some evidence. If I can find some evidence, we will bring the evidence to a prosecutor. And I think it was pretty cool. Inky Pinky Gavin, did Mullins know there were cameras in his chambers? Maybe he had them installed. Maybe they had been installed to catch him. So when I don't know the answer to your question, but just to add a little more insight to this, Ned just said about an hour ago on Surviving the Survivor that it is unheard of to have cameras in a judge's chambers. It's unheard of. He's never, in his 40 some odd years of working in the criminal justice system in the state of Kentucky, it's unheard of. So, yeah. Jess, thanks for streaming, even though you had another stream tonight. Yeah, when Joel and Steve ask me to be on, I am always on. I love Surviving the Survivor. I love Joel and Carm. I love Steve, and I'm grateful that they helped me out, because it definitely does bring some eyeballs to my channel. If you guys didn't see that, go over to Surviving the Survivor and check out that stream. It was great. And right now they're doing one on the LA fires, but it'll be the one right before that. And then they're going on to Veronica and Jillian tomorrow. So yeah, they're doing good work over there. There was one other thing that I wanted to bring up before we call it a night. I know it's kind of late. I've done 2 streams today, and it's not really a long stream on this one, but it is getting pretty late. But you guys know that you can contact me over on my website, right? gavinfish.com. Let me bring it up for you so you can see it. There it is. This is my website. You can always contact me over there. You can read some headlines in the world of crime. I've got my blog over there that I occasionally post to. But when you click on this, you will get to a contact form. Now, you can contact me anonymously, but there's a big caveat to it. So anonymously meaning you don't have to put in your name, you don't have to put in your email address or phone number, but it is the internet, right? And my web server does log IP addresses the way every web server does. I always have committed to you guys that if you want to be anonymous, I will keep you anonymous. I will not look for those things. But if you truly want to be anonymous, you got to use some sort of VPN. I love NordVPN. That's the one that I use. But anyway, I wanted to bring up that I seldomly get bad people contacting me for nefarious reasons. But I did get one that I'm not going to show here because it's vulgar. I got one on Monday at 8:30 p.m. Now, what was I doing on Monday? On Monday, give me a second. Let me pull this off. Give me just 1 second. I think we were listening to the first portion of the interview that we just listened to. Yeah. So on Monday, we were listening to this, and we got off at around 8:30. And so at 8:32 p.m., I got it says a case tip from my website. I'm not going to show it, but it has a vulgar name attached to it. It has a fictitious email account, and then it has a 606 area code phone number that goes to Kentucky, and then it berates me for everything that I did. Calls me all sorts of names and uses all sorts of slurs. In this case, I decided I got to check out the IP address where this person is. And yeah, That person was dead center in the middle of Letcher County. I suspect, the only person that's that could possibly be upset about my coverage of this case would be Mr. Fields, registered sex offender, convicted felon, or somebody connected to him, or it could possibly be somebody connected to Sheriff Stines, who is currently awaiting his trial for the murder of Judge Mullins. Let me bring that one up, right? For the killing of Judge Mullins. Now, in the conversation that I had with Ned and Joel and, Mr. Richardson, the District Attorney General of the great state of Tennessee, they think this is headed for a trial. They think this is going to head for a trial. And I would love to see that. I would love to be there for it. But anyway, I think people in Letcher County are watching what's happening here on YouTube. I think some of them are upset about it. I think that those that are upset about it are the ones that are maybe the guilty parties, in my opinion. Anyway, I want to share that with you guys. Hey, but I don't want to discourage you, and feel free to contact me through the website. Also, while you're on the website, you can find different ways that you can support me. I am deeply grateful for your sharing and liking and commenting, engaging with me here on the website. Also, feel free to help out my lead mod, Autumn. She volunteers to lead my merry band of intrepid moderators. So that is one way that you can help her, and I'm deeply grateful for those of you who do. Lastly, please come on over to the Fish Tank if you are on Facebook. Join our group. We are led in that group by Jamie, who is also a moderator here on the channel, but that is where we spend a good long amount of time chatting with one another. So please head on over and do that. Okay, tomorrow we're actually going to go over, we're going to be looking at the Blake Lively fiasco, right? All the lawsuits that have been filed. There are at least 3 right now in the sexual harassment, circus that is Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni. We'll be doing that tomorrow, Thursday. And then on Friday, we will be returning back around to the Madeline Soto case. And I am really looking forward to that conversation. We're going to take a look at what basically the first year of this case brought. I know we're not quite at the 1 year mark. That doesn't happen till February, but 2024, we're going to do kind of a year in review and look at what's going to be happening in 2025. So I hope you join me for that. With that, guys, those programming notes, whatever, thank you for being here. Thanks so much for joining me over on STS and for coming over here. Those of you who are brand new over here, I do see, holy cow, look at, that's gone up a little bit down there. So plenty of you came over. Thank you for doing that. All right, with that, I will bid you adieu. Have a terrific night. I will see you tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Take care. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked what you saw, please consider subscribing. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below.